Story 1. He made me feel insecure, and in fact, it was only after leaving him that I discovered I deserved someone better. Story 2. A sense of perfectionism and criticism experienced in the military destroyed my self-worth and led to the use of antidepressants. Story 3. Expecting me to forgive him despite repeating the same behavior again and again. Things like contaminating my food with allergens and me not telling him my bank balance. Every time I said his behavior was unacceptable, he thought saying sorry would be enough and he did not need to change. This has made me very resistant to this behavior in other people now. I expect that if you are sorry, you should take steps not to repeat the error again. Story 4. My ex always thought I did nothing all day despite having a newborn and a 2-year-old. I left when my youngest was 3 months old. Story 5. He would block me if I did not let him use my car because he did not have one. So he would drop me off at work in my car and then go do random activities in my car. Never again. Story 6. Being stonewalled. Being lied to. Being used and never appreciated. Oh dear, I better stop now or this will become a paragraph about how much I have put up with that mess me up over time. I am 42 years old, male, single for the past 3 years, and I dread getting back into dating. I am lonely and miserable. The only thing that gives me self-esteem is working on myself. Story 7. She would always check my mobile and get jealous of every woman in my life. She would even read my Skype messages with my office colleagues. Guess who got caught cheating through chats after 10 years of marriage? Story 8. Mine wasn't a real relationship. I confessed my feelings to a girl, and she rejected me. I was too immature to let her go, so we still hung out. She happily let me pay for everything we did together for about 8 or 9 months. Then I started developing a crush on another girl, and she got angry at me, saying I didn't care about her anymore. I asked her to a concert, but she didn't want to go because she didn't listen to the artist. So I asked another girl who did, just a friend, and she got mad at me for that too. I finally told her I didn't understand why she was always angry with me. I told her I obviously still had feelings for her, and she confirmed she did not feel the same way. She was very manipulative, and I let her do that for months. Story 9. I usually don't tolerate disrespect. I walk away, but for a few years, I tolerated my ex's difficult mother. She was truly a horrid woman, constantly interfering in our relationship, calling him several times a day, including early morning and late at night. We couldn't go anywhere without her bombarding him with phone calls, treating me terribly, and my ex never really confronted her about it. I put up with that nonsense far too long, but finally, I had enough and ended the relationship. Not just because of his toxic mother, but for many valid reasons. He also was not a good person. Story 10. He blamed his going limp on me and shamed me for it. The condom was too small and was cutting off blood flow. Story 11. His coworker gifted him an intimate item, along with some of his other coworkers, apparently to avoid blame for gifting him. She also complained to him about her inactive sex life and conveniently started participating in a very niche sport we were into, claiming she needed to supervise her 17-year-old brother. When I pointed out how inappropriate this was, he made me feel insane. Because they shared a friend group at work, he said he couldn't avoid her but promised he would limit contact. I stayed for 2 more years and eventually accepted a job overseas. I ended the relationship shortly afterwards since I basically had to beg him to call me once or twice a week. His sister posted a picture of my ex and the coworker together within a month, and they were officially dating within the next few months after we broke up. They are all blocked on every platform now. I only found out because I forgot to block one platform I rarely use and saw a post. I dealt with the disrespect for far too long. He would say things in public and then turn around in private and deny any commitment to what he said. I was honestly relieved when I found out they were together because he made me feel like I was insane. I still don't know if they had a physical affair while we were together, but definitely an emotional one at the very least. Now I'm living my best life. Have a successful career with great friends in a great city. Feels a bit petty to say, but he's always going to be complacent and won't amount to anything. To the people who kept telling me I could do better, you were right. Those last few months with him were probably some of the worst in my life. I had to make myself smaller, less ambitious, and less interesting to be with him. He showed very little interest in my hobbies while I always had to be involved in his. Never again. It was very much a lesson learned. While I won't get all those years back, I'd probably do it again at that point in time because it made me who I am today, and I really like who that is. Story 12. Being extremely jealous and starting an argument over every girl I talk to, even her own friends. In hindsight, I am pretty sure she cheated on me. That perhaps explains the behavior. Story 13. My ex used to manipulate me emotionally. When I reacted, he would compare my behavior to that of mentally unwell people on the television programs we watched. This may not sound serious, but in the context of reducing my self-worth and isolating me from friends and family, it was very harmful. It was so bad that I have avoided getting into long-term relationships for the last 13 years. Story 14. Being in a secret relationship. I dated a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and our relationship had to be kept secret because members do not date casually. I was introduced as a friend, and we only spent time together inside his apartment, but never engaged in full intimacy, as he had to remain a virgin for his future wife. Story 15. She thinks she is the only one living in the shadow, whereas I live on the sunny side of life. Divorce is ongoing. Story 16. I got married after 4 years to my husband, who then got me to smoke crack with him about 4 years later. I have borderline personality disorder, so I automatically have an addictive personality. He laughed and said, "I could easily make you a crack addict," and laughed about it. I've had trust issues ever since. He said to me, "Just because you can't handle drugs doesn't mean that I can." Was he doing that the first 8 years we were together? Now, 11 years into this relationship, he has called for a divorce because I don't trust him and my borderline personality disorder is too much for him to handle. I've been sober for a year, and he probably smoked crack last week. I will fight tooth and nail for full custody of our 2 children. I can't trust him with our kids. This is pretty toxic. Story 17. Got a coworker pregnant. I told her I was leaving him because he was not responsible enough for me. She terminated the pregnancy and left him as well. Story 18. Cheating frequently, including with my roommate, then gaslighting me when I confronted him about it. I do not miss him. Story 19. He was a horrible, immature person, always blaming me for everything wrong in the relationship. Blamed me for his gambling addiction. Told me I was stupid and lazy when I slept in on a Sunday after working and studying all week. Gave me the silent treatment over the most ridiculous things that I couldn't possibly have known. My favorite was when he didn't speak to me for several hours, because I cooked pasta incorrectly, expected me to read his mind, criticized my driving after forcing me to drive him around, despite the fact that he was a reckless driver who nearly caused accidents on several occasions, manipulated me into sex and then got mad at me when I cried afterward, took inappropriate photos of me without my consent and refused to delete them. The list goes on. Story 20. My soon-to-be ex-husband's codependency on his teenage son. He told me he does not know how to be a father and a husband at the same time, so he chooses to be a father. Story 21. He manipulated me because of my emotions and said this would not work out. Later, I found out he was dating another girl. I still cannot open up emotionally to anyone now because I feel I will be judged like he did. Story 22. A fake friendship with a girl who was actually insane. I could write an entire book on her evil doings. I'll give you one story. We were in New York City at Penn Station waiting for a train home. There was a homeless man who was intoxicated walking around. He suddenly lurched towards us, and I quickly stepped in front of the girl. It was purely instinctual. The homeless man walked away, and then the girl I protected started yelling at me in public, saying I embarrassed her. I am a strong woman, so I told her off, walked away, and got on the train. A short while later, I calmed down and texted her asking where she was because I had to drive us home. Then I drove her home, which was hours out of my way, and then went home myself. Another story. I had a clothing business at the time, and she wanted to order her mom a red dress for her parents' 25th anniversary. She was very passionate about it because her mom never got to wear a red dress for her wedding. I personally don't like red wedding dresses, but almost everyone does. It's our culture, so I wasn't going to insult their preferences. She had a whole explanation about why it was important to her. So she picked out the fabric for the dress, I got it stitched, and it cost about $150. It needed to be shipped from Pakistan, and it was a really heavy dress, so the shipping alone was about $50. This girl always went around telling everyone, including relatives, how her family's business was doing badly. I always felt for her because my father lost his business too when I was young, although he recovered. The thing is, in our culture, or perhaps because we are refined people, we don't say such things publicly. She has no idea what my family and I have been through. She thinks she is the only person who has ever suffered. So I paid the shipping fees for the dress without a word. Unless she reads this, she will never know. Then I went to her parents' anniversary, and her mom was wearing the dress. I smiled because it made me happy to see my friend's dreams come to life. But she and her mom exchanged a look, as if my smile was sinister and like I had gotten away with something. I think she thought I charged her extra money for the dress, and that is why I looked so happy. But I am such a good person. I spent my own money on her mom's dress, and I was happy to see my friend happy. The end. Story 23. He demanded, not asked for, my location at all times, access to my messages on demand, and access to my phone logs on demand. I was not allowed to work but was expected to help with finances. He demanded immediate chemical changes in my brain with no time to adjust or research how to make these changes. They had to be right at that moment or I was out. He also moaned his ex's name during oral sex, comforted me for about 45 minutes, went to bed, and then the next day got mad at me for being upset. Story 24. Not letting me go out unless we went together. Visiting me at my school to control who I was talking to. Having sex with me while I told him I felt too tired, ill, or for any reason, because otherwise I didn't love him anymore. Going through my mobile phone and social media accounts. Threatening my male friends. He is my ex now, but I am still horribly traumatized. Story 25. She abused me and gaslit me a lot, trying to force me into being polyamorous until it became physical. I foolishly put up with it once. She apologized and said it would never happen again. The next day, she joked about it with a friend while I was there, saying it was okay because I was bigger. In the following argument, it happened again. That was it. She was out of my apartment. She lied to the police about me, so I told the truth, and she pleaded guilty to assault. Story 26. He devalued me as a person and was downright cruel, both verbally and emotionally, because I developed chronic health issues during our relationship that helped me realize quickly how selfish, lacking empathy, and just plain cruel he is. I honestly feel bad for him. Story 27. He spent years accusing me of cheating while I was at work, at the gym, and at my sister's house. He went through my phone, put up nanny cameras in our apartment, and showed up at my coffee dates with female friends. I found out he was on Tinder swiping whenever I turned him down for sex, which did not happen often. It was a big shock that he was projecting his lack of respect for monogamy and our relationship onto me. Story 28. They slowly turned me into someone I was not, and I am still healing from that 2 years later. Story 29. He told me it was normal for guys to be attracted to or appreciate other girls. He had the courage to tell me that a random girl is sexy and pretty during a call with me, while at the same time saying that he is not attracted to me and not telling me that I am pretty. Story 30. Being manipulated about my trust issues when in reality, he was being unfaithful to me. The infidelity was one thing, but the way he tried to make me feel guilty for suspecting and confronting him was a whole other level of insanity. Story 31. Oh boy, is this the thread for me or what? However, I will try to keep it to just one and provide perhaps a unique one. My mental health issues do not affect or concern you, despite my apparent addiction to toxic relationships, and this not sounding as harsh as many other examples I could give, this one absolutely took the cake in how unbelievably and instantly alone and disconnected I felt from the woman I shared a home with and raised a child. It also gets bonus points for not having meant to be cruel in any way, unlike many other examples. Story 32. He stole my benzodiazepines that were prescribed to me when he knew I was having panic attacks. That same day, he took lysergic acid diethylamide on our date night without telling me. Wild. Story 33. He accused me day and night of cheating on him and always checked my phone. Meanwhile, I was never allowed to hold his phone or check it. After the breakup, I found out he was cheating with our work colleague. Story 34. He kept in touch with all of his exes and friends with benefits. He flirted with girls at bars, at work, and at events. His eyes wandered any time we went out to eat or to shows. He always said this was normal, that guys do this, and that he was not gay so he would notice women. His sister tried to convince me this was normal too. So did his dad. All of his siblings are divorced single parents or just single. I should have known. Story 35. Keyed my car, punched me in the face, bit my arm, and broke multiple of my belongings. Recently, when I thought things were getting better, she broke my glasses while I was driving and blamed me for not letting her sleep, while she stayed out all night using cocaine as I was driving us to work. Story 36. Her friend intruded into our life repeatedly. He took me aside to share intimate details he knew about her. He also took me aside to talk about me pursuing a romantic relationship with her. He sent her 24 roses. It became uncomfortable. I tried to be open-minded and understanding. When I expressed my growing discomfort and need for boundaries, she reacted explosively. I ended the relationship after the last outburst. He was more important to her. I wish her luck finding herself in a healthy relationship with her friend intruding. Story 37. I have shared many things my wife did during our years together on threads like these, but I'll share one I don't think I've shared here before. Early in our relationship, about a year in, she prohibited me from getting a sexual wellness device because she said, "Why would you want one? You should only want me. Getting one would be cheating. I can't believe you actually want to cheat on me. I should be good enough for you. Why am I not good enough for you?" So I never got one. At the time, we were in a long-distance relationship, so I wanted it to feel closer to her. I even told her that when I asked about getting one. She seemed to forget this ever happened. Probably a miracle given how many things she held over me for the rest of our relationship. After we moved in together, she decided she wanted one for herself. She went through just about every way she could to try to get one and paint me as the bad guy. She said things like, "You don't care about my pleasure." Ironically, she once said, "It's not even cheating." She played the "I do so much for you" card because she thought 30 seconds of effort followed by "my jaw is tired" showed how masterful and generous she was compared to me, who would do it less frequently but not stop until she wanted me to, quality not quantity. She even tried tricking me by asking me to buy one for a minor. She was friends with a 15-year-old and had that person call me to ask me to buy one. I'm still grossed out by that. She posted on social media platforms to show me how wrong it was that she couldn't have one. Then, as she always did, she did what she wanted anyway. She bought multiple different ones for herself and recorded videos trying them. She hid them where I wouldn't find them. She hid her camera where I wouldn't have access, even though we had shared memories on there, and I had a legitimate reason to access it. She became very protective of it when she asked me to get it for her. She later turned out to be unfaithful right around the time she bought these devices and made the videos. She eventually admitted she created the videos intending to post them to her not safe for work channel on her online server, because she just wanted someone to make me feel sexy. So after all she said wasn't okay for me to do, it was perfectly fine, even necessary, for her to do the very things she was strongly against. She had even told me once, "If you ever cheat on me, I'll kill myself." Story 38. He got mad when I described his behavior, and he told me that would mean he was manipulating me, which could never be the case. Story 39. He was a bartender. He leaned over and kissed his other girlfriend on the cheek while I was at the other end of the bar. I was so naive. I just thought he was being overly flirty. He did things like that all the time, and I was too young and damaged to understand how to handle it. Story 40. My ex used to say that if I ever broke up with him, he would never find love again. I hope he has been able to find it. Story 41. He would constantly give me the silent treatment, which led to me breaking up with him because he had not talked to me in 5 days. He still never replied to my breakup message. Story 42. This is a current tolerance, not a past one. My husband is an alcoholic. The lies, the gaslighting, the drunken rages. He is the sweetest man on earth when he is sober. Everyone likes him, and he can have a good conversation with anyone. I love him too much to leave, and now I am an alcoholic too. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.